So these are the parts that are on the quiz. You've got graphing points, you've got alternate points, you've got converting points, converting equations, and graphing. Okay? So let's look at these. I'm graphing 330. That should be easy. Negative 2, 135. So I go to 135. Jasha, what's the negative 2 radius going to do? Move it across to the other side, so it should be down here at 315. There's B. Okay? C says negative 5, negative 150. So I'm going to go to 150 degrees here. Okay, here's 150 degrees. Ebony, what does the negative on the degrees do? Make it go down. Flip it over the x-axis. So if this is 150 degrees this way, negative 150 would be the same going this direction, or 210. Okay, it's going to be on the spot of 210. Okay, so 210 and 5 would be here, but Edwin, what's the negative 5 going to do? Go across, yep, go across to there. There's C. Okay, those are the 3 points. We need to do some alternate coordinates with it. It should be really easy. There's no right or wrong. Don't make them complicated ones on the quiz. Do easy versions. Okay, for A, for example. All right, I'm looking for which one to get to here. Well, that's 330. Oh, that was already used, so I can't use that. So let's say I wanted to use negative 3 as my radius. What would my degree angle need to be if I was using negative 3? Alicia, what would I need to use? 210. I would want to use the one that's directly across from it. Okay? You could do other versions of that. That's not the only one. You could have done 330 as well. That would all, or negative 330, sorry. That would work. Negative 2, 135 to get me B. So let's use the easy one, which is just exactly how it said. What's the alternate coordinate for that? 2, 315 is the easy way. 2 and 315 would be the easy way because it's just where is it on the actual circle. And C, the same thing. When I see negatives, then I'm going to go with the easy way of talking about it. Okay, what's the radius of C? 5, and what angle is it on? There we go. There's alternate coordinates. Okay, pretty straightforward. Make it easy. Don't make it too complicated there. Second one, converting each of the following rectangular points to polar. So we want r and theta. That means we're using the 2 equations. R squared equals x squared plus y squared, and tangent of theta equals y over x. Okay, this equation will give me r, that equation will give me theta, since I'm trying to get in polar. So I'm going to do that for both of these problems. Those are the equations I'm doing when I'm trying to do it in polar form. Okay, so for the first one, 3 squared plus negative 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. What about negative 3 squared? Still 9. I got a square root 18. Okay? In a perfect world, it's easy, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to break it down. Okay, so Eric, what 2 numbers multiply together to get me 18? 9 and 2. What about 9? What breaks 9 into? 3 and 3. Okay, so if we're writing a radical, we want to figure out what we have a pair of. What do we have a pair of, Eric? We have a pair of 3s, so the 3s will go on the outside. Anything that does not have a pair goes back underneath, so 3 radical 2. That's the radius for this problem. I had to square root that 18. To find my angle, I'm just plugging in. Tangent of theta equals y over x. So Caleb, what's negative 3 over 3 get me? Negative 1. So I'm looking for when on my unit circle is tangent equal to negative 1. So Caleb, look at your unit circle. When is tangent going to be negative 1? 315. So theta could be 315, or what else could it be? 135. It's one of these 2 answers. 315 is negative 1, but so is 135. I need to make a decision. Which one is it? Which one of those 2 has a positive x and a negative y? 315. Positive x because I went right and down. So my answer for this one is 3 radical 2, comma 315 degrees. Questions there? Let's do the second one. X squared plus y squared equals r squared again. So 5 squared, I know it's negative, but it's not going to matter because I'm squaring it. 5 radical 3 squared equals r squared. 25. What about 5 radical 3 squared, Alex? What's 5 radical 3 squared going to get me? 25, and what about radical 3 squared? Times 3. Good. So 25 plus 75, that's 100 square rooted. My radius is 10. Remember, I'm squaring both things in the radical. When I square root the 5, Alex told me that was, or when I squared the 5, that was 25. When I squared radical 3, that gave me the 3. Okay, the second part says tangent of theta is going to be equal to y over x. Y over x. So Ashley, what can I do to reduce that? Is it going to be positive or negative? Positive, because I have 2 negatives. And then are there any numbers I can reduce? The 5s are going to cancel. So I'm looking on my unit circle. When is tangent radical 3? So look at your unit circle, looking for values of tangent being radical 3. 60 and 240. Jasmine A., which one of those two do I want, 60 or 240? 240. Why do I want 240? Because they're both negative. She wants the 240 and not the 60. Questions so far? Question? Why did it equal? Because it's 25 plus 75. It was 25 times 3. I squared the 5 to get me 25. I squared square root of 3, so they cancel to get me 3. Okay. The second part, we're trying to go to rectangular form. So I want x's and y's. So x equals r cosine theta, and y equals r sine theta. Those are just our formulas from the front of our unit circle. X equals r cosine theta, y equals r sine theta. All we're doing is plugging in and solving. Okay, so 8 times cosine of 30. 8 times sine of 30. 4 times negative 45 degrees. That would be the same thing as 315. I would rather use positive degrees. It's just easier. Okay, there's our setups for all of them. Now I'm just doing them. Cosine of 30. Go to the unit circle. It's radical 3 over 2. So when I reduce, it is 4 radical 3 when I reduce the 8 and the 2. This one is 8 times a half. So when I reduce that, my y is equal to 4. Over here, my x is 4 times radical 2 over 2, which reduces to 2 radical 2. And 4 sine of 315 would be 4 times radical 2 over 2 negative. So my final answer is negative 2 radical 2. There's my 4 answers. Questions on conversions? Be wrong.